I do have a lot of friends that are Saudi who go to the university here, and
Mhm.
they all have very different opinions. I mean, it's a very like the range of opinions for that is interesting, but I do believe that at some point, hopefully we'll be able to be in a place where we are in good working relationships with them.
Joining me today on the Capitol Show, Representative Alma Hernandez from Arizona. You are most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are a state representative from Arizona. Your priority is to be concerned about local issues, but we see you are interested in foreign policy. Can you know why and how?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So yes, I'm elected here in Arizona, but I believe that it's really important that we're doing everything possible to ensure the safety of Israel. I've been doing pro-Israel activism since I was in high school, and it's just something that's really important to me, not
Mhm.
only as a Jew, but as someone in the community that understands that there's truly only one Jewish homeland, and that is the place that we have to protect. So since for the last 15 years of my life, I've been working around this issue. It's not something that just started when I got elected.
Mhm.
My advocacy around the issue has been going on for many, many years, and it will continue until I can no longer do it. But it really has nothing to do with me being elected. I
Mhm.
think me being elected gives me more of a voice now because I am elected, so I do have a different platform than I did before.
But
But it is something that's really important to me.
yeah, can I know your assessment for the Abrahamic Accords since you are interested in Israel and the existence of Israel? So, how do you see this agreement with some of the Arab countries like UAE, Bahrain, Sudan?
I mean, I think it's a step in the right. I mean, I was actually, for one, really happy to see that there's so many new opportunities. I think that it opened the door and opened the conversation. I have a lot of friends that come from a lot of those countries who study at the university here that I've had conversations with who didn't really know anything about Israel, had never met a Jew before,
Mhm.
but they had very different ideas of what that was. And now that this has happened, I think it's creating more of an opportunity for us to have better relationships with others. So, I think it's something that needed to be done. And I'm just glad that now we're able to have an opportunity just to be able to work with different countries that not always were very supportive or willing to work with us.
Do you think that there is a chance for mutual recognition between Israel and Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, that one's a very interesting one because I do have a lot of friends that are Saudi who go to the university here, and
Mhm.
they all have very different opinions. I mean, it's a very like the range of opinions for that is interesting, but I do believe that at some point, hopefully we'll be able to be in a place where we are in good working relationships with them, and I think at the end of the day, most of my friends who I have had conversations around this, they all want, they want to be able to be peaceful and have an opportunity. I had some of them who told me they'd love to visit Israel. They're like, "Oh, I've always wanted to visit." So, for me, it's just I'm hoping that we can continue making strides within the Arab countries and making sure that we're building more working relationships with everyone.
How do you see the collaboration between Israel and UAE on climate change level, on green energy, on technology? There is many contracts and agreement between them, and now we are the COP28 are gonna be held in UAE. How do you see that?
Yeah, I believe that it's really great whenever we partner or we work with different countries who are leading and doing great things around these topics. I think it's a great opportunity. Again, there are so many amazing people, regardless of what country they're in, that are experts on their field in their fields. So I do believe that it's a great opportunity for us to also learn from others who are already doing the work and seeing how we can improve, whether it's here in the US or in Israel or vice versa, because everyone can work together and learn from each other. I'll tell you that in Arizona, we're facing a lot of issues around water and climate. And
Mm.
I know that that's a really important thing for us because we need to be able to be prepared and better protect our communities. So I do believe that it's important for us to have these relationships. And I think it's great that we're learning from others who are already working on these issues.
Perfect. In one of your articles, you criticized MSNBC host Mehdi Hassan for his
Mhm.
rejection of what he termed Qatarophobia. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, so during that time, so first I play soccer. I've been playing soccer my entire life. So I love soccer. I did think it was unfortunate that it was held there, considering so many of the concerns around human rights. I mean, if we're talking about human rights concerns, I mean, the fact that women are not able to access any sort of women health services because they're not married, or the fact that same-sex couples cannot have, for me, something, these are issues that are very important to me as a Democrat and as a woman. I think it's important for us to highlight the fact that this is a country that has very problematic history around people's rights. And when he went on and basically said that it's racist to criticize Sharia law, I just, for me, I just had to call out the double standards there, because he's constantly and very proudly open about his stance on Israel and how he called himself an anti-Zionist, and he goes and uses his platform to be able to spread a lot of the hate that I feel that he spreads. So I thought it was important to have a response to him calling anyone who had anything to say around, the games being held there, racist. I said, how can you say that because we're saying it's wrong to oppress women and it's wrong to oppress the LGBTQ community and a lot of the worker rights issues? I mean, there's so many issues that were faced there, but for
Got it.
me, I felt it was important to use my platform to be able to call him out on that.
Okay. Do you support, on another hand, the president? Are you against him or you support him regarding the freeing of a number of American hostages held by Iran in return for U.S. Paying billions of dollars as a ransom?
So that's a very interesting, that's a tough question, truly, because I believe that it's our duty, and also as the president, it's his job to keep Americans safe. Anytime an American, regardless of what country they're in, are facing some sort of issue, we have to do everything possible to get them back home. So it is a tough question, because do we want us negotiating with terrorists? Absolutely not. I think that people who are terrorizing people in their own countries and truly killing them for no reason is not someone we should be negotiating with. But at the end of the day, I believe it was, from what I know, it was 5 Americans who were there, from what we know of. 5 Americans, and I know that it's very important for not only the president but the Department of State to bring them back home. So you know, it's difficult because we want them to come back home and we need them to come back home in one piece and safely. But at the same time, I don't know if, what the negotiations were around how much money was being given. I heard it was in the billions. I don't know how much, but it is really frustrating just because in my opinion, I don't believe we should be negotiating with these folks. But at the end of the day, we have to do everything possible to bring them back home.
Understood. You said that Iran is a terrorist country. So how do you see the Iran mullah regime funding proxies like Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and in Syria? Of course, they have influence. How do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's terrible. I think at the end of the day, anyone who has any involvement, not only just in funding, but supporting and giving the training and access to these folks who they're training to be the terrorists, to really wipe out what they don't believe is fitting with their laws or with what they want. I think it's terrible. I do believe that over the years, it's obviously gotten a lot worse. It's just really sad to see how they control so much, and so much of what's happened to very innocent people who have never deserved to be harmed by them. So it is very difficult. And the other tough part is, when you look at this issue, is that a lot of times they use their own people as shields, and they use their own people, and then they go out publicly and accuse others of going after them or doing things to them. And a lot of times we know that that's not the truth. So
Okay.
it's unfortunate.
You know, Hezbollah in Lebanon stands against Israel. Do you hope one day the country, Lebanon, will have a peace agreement with Israel? Do you see that can be happen, that can be
I
done?
mean, truthfully, I would love that. Only because I mean it's so close to, right? It's like literally on the border of Israel.
Mhm.
I believe that the history there, it's a tough one. But at the end of the day, I believe I truly would love nothing more than to have peace in the Middle East, as they say, right? Like it would be amazing to be able to have Israel live in where Israel is currently and not have to fear that in a matter of, minutes it can be wiped out completely, right? So for me, I think it's important that we do everything possible to build those relationships. And again, it's hard because I believe that there are people in both Lebanon and Israel that would love nothing more than to be able to have, that peaceful way of like, if they wanted to visit, if they wanted to, go to the university and learn and do all of these things that are currently not doable. I would love to see that. I just don't know currently how things are going, when we'll see that happen.
Yeah. And my last question, you are as a Democrat, I need to know your opinion on how the Biden administration is engaged in the Middle East, and how do you see Russia, China, competition in many places in the world?
Yeah. So as a Democrat, I I've been a Democrat my entire life, and I don't think that will actually never change. But at the end of the day, I think everyone has very different different policy concerns that they're worried about or that they care about. I believe that as a party, we have taken a stance of, we're going to support the president on the decisions that are being made. Those are more federal related issues that I don't deal with as much here at the state level.
Mm,
However, it is important for me to realize and also acknowledge that sometimes a lot of the things that are being done are not the best things that are being done. But I would just say that as a Dem and one of the reasonable Democrats, it's important for me to hold people accountable, but also support the things that are being done that are good.
mhm.
Yeah.
Will you support President Biden to win a second term?
Yes, I will. I actually reached out. I was a delegate for his campaign the last cycle.
Hmm.
In the time that he's been in Arizona, I usually go and receive him at the airport, and we do meetings and stuff. And for me, elections are not great. I hate nothing more than campaigning. And elections are coming up again. He is the front runner in our party. He is the nominee, and I will do everything possible to be able to support him here in Arizona, but also because I think we need to do, as Democrats, a better job of supporting our candidates so that we can win in legislatures. In Arizona, we're only down by one member. So
Mm.
I believe that if we can collaborate and work together, I do truly believe that, like me, I'll have more of an impact in the majority.
Hmm. Representative Alma Hernandez, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for
Of
being
course.
on my show. Thank you.
Of course.
Hey, Maria Malouf here. Please click to like and subscribe to Maria Malouf TV YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.